In today's episode of Realty Talk, we're going to talk about the mansion tax in Los Angeles, the Palisades fire, whether investors are helping or hurting that Palisades fire area, and why it matters to you as a local consumer. All right, welcome back to your favorite podcast on the planet, Realty Talk. We are very excited to be here today. Lots of things to discuss. We have a jam-packed episode. But to my left, we have the queen of the closing table, Suzanne, CEO, founder of Innovate Realty.
I do feel like I've been closing some deals lately. Like I'm feeling very in the mix, closing deals again. So
Queen
yeah,
of the closing table.
That's right.
Active queen of the closing table.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, we used to say, you qualified it. You're like, yes, I am the queen of the closing table because I've sold a lot of real estate, but I'm not really active anymore.
Yeah.
So now you are also active a little.
Sometimes you got to help, you got to move these properties, and sometimes I have to get in and be the queen of the closing table. I think that's all it is.
And I am your other host, Paul Fix-It-All Hansen, and I do feel very fix-ish right now. I'm fixing lots of little things.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is why that is your nickname, because I think every week you're fixing things. So
I have to digress a little bit on Fix It, which, I guess we should qualify all of this. But if you're newer to the podcast, I am a family man and I have two little girls, and I love finding a way to put my girls to work just so that they understand what work is, right? So in our backyard, we have lots of different like fruits and vegetables that we grow. So we pick different things. So this year, we picked zucchini to make zucchini bread.
Okay.
And cantaloupe because we love cantaloupe, like with salami or different things, like on the weekends.
Yeah.
So we planted these cantaloupes from these teeny little seeds a couple months ago, and the vine's growing. A week ago, we had 5, pretty decent sized cantaloupes. Not necessarily ready to pick yet, but dang close.
Okay.
Saturday morning, we woke up and something had gotten into 3 of the cantaloupes.
Oh yeah.
Ate into the inside of the cantaloupe and like hollowed out all of the like the fruit of the cantaloupe.
Yeah.
And then it just made a mess with seeds and everything everywhere.
Oh, no.
Girls are crying like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I'm like, these little, I don't know what they are, but I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna come, I'm gonna fix the issue.
Yeah.
So that was our weekend, and we did fix part of the issue.
What animal was this?
These were rats.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So again, for listeners that don't know, we also have a pest control company. And, in this particular area of my neighborhood, there are 3 homes that are heavy under construction right now. And so I think that's maybe where they're coming from.
It's so funny. This is the second rat sighting I have heard of in the past few days, because someone that works on our team who also helps on the pest control side actually had an issue with rats. And, when we say rats, just to clarify, we're California. This is not like what you envision in New York City. It's like, they're kind of cute. Like they look kind of like mice. Like,
yes,
I don't know. Maybe some people would disagree sitting in this room, but anyway. So anyway, it's not that crazy. Like they are around, and so he was actually saying as well. He's like, I feel like I've been involved in pest control now for 3 years. Like, I feel like this is my chance. I am rising to the occasion and I'm going to get rid of this rat issue. So he was like so excited.
Was he successful?
And this was just an update on Friday. So I don't know yet. I don't know how it worked out, but he was so excited to like implement the things that he's learned about pest control in his own daily life. So you're changing lives, Paul.
We got 3 of the little buggers over the weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. That also produced tears, by the way.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. I probably would have produced tears, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Let's jump into our actual meat and potatoes, and then maybe we do a little market catch up at the end today if you're open to it. So
yeah, let's do it.
2 days away from July.
Okay.
And we have a big change in Southern California, specifically Los Angeles County.
Yes, we've talked before about the mansion tax. So the mansion tax has raised over $1 billion in 3 years, and the rules are kind of being switched up a bit on July 1st. So tell us what's happening.
Yes, I'm going to digress a little bit first,
as you said,
because there's a statement that the mansion tax has raised $1 billion. I struggle with that one. So we'll kind of unraveling what that means. Essentially, in 2023 through July 1st, if you sold a home for more than $5 million in the city of LA or LA County, then there was an additional tax on top of the normal city and county transfer taxes and supplemental taxes, which most people don't talk about, of 5%.
Right.
So if you sold a house, 3 weeks ago for $5 million on the dot, in reality, you're paying an extra $250,000 of fees on top of your city and county transfer taxes, which are kind of prorated. They're taxes to own that asset inside of the city.
Right.
And then the supplemental tax bill, which most people don't talk about, and it annoys me that we don't talk about it in this conversation, not you and me, but like the greater public. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody bought a house for, let's say $500,000 30 years ago, which a lot of these houses are in that bucket, if they haven't sold it in that window of time, there's it's called a supplemental tax bill, which is a step up in basis to catch up for that difference, depending on how old they are.
Right.
So if they're over 55, then they may qualify to not have to pay that supplemental tax bill.
Right.
If they're not, then they've got to pay it.
Yeah.
And it is a ginormous number.
Right.
And so, it's kind of, when politicians say, hey, we've raised $1 billion,
yeah,
by taxing these luxury transactions, okay, what did you do with the billion? Number one, like, where is it going? What is it benefiting? And then, number two, is the benefit of that outweighing the cost of putting the luxury market of Los Angeles City into a screeching halt?
Right.
I don't think this is an example, I think, where, politicians are trying to use splashy headlines and like big numbers to make themselves look good. But I think Karen Bass, she talks about this $1 billion thing and like dumping it all into this homelessness problem. And ultimately it's just like this perpetual cycle where it just gets worse. I think we saw some news in the last couple of weeks where you'd see, these NGOs that are popping up to try to help solve this homelessness problem. So a part of that $1 billion goes to fund these NGOs. The CEO of this NGO is getting paid $1 million a year, and they're going to go in and buy an old crappy apartment complex, and they're going to try to refurbish and put homeless people in it. But then, since 23, when this started to happen, none of those units are available. So it's taken years, and maybe they'll never get done.
Yeah.
So they're just lighting money on fire, and it's not fixing anything.
Yeah.
And so I really struggle with, that as a plan.
Right.
To me, it looks like, and this is an overreach probably, but, if somebody has got some wealth and that asset's going to transfer, they're trying to attach to it to generate revenue. And ultimately what that will do long-term is probably drive anybody that has any significant wealth out of the state.
Right.
And so if they move to Texas or Idaho or Nashville or wherever people are moving today, or Florida, then those states that are a little bit more tax-friendly are going to benefit from jobs and income tax and employment. And, it's kind of crazy to me.
So that brings me to my question, because you just answered a lot of questions that that I had for you. But but I guess the question is, does a tax that only hits these properties over $5 million, does it trickle down to affect normal buyers and sellers, or average buyers and sellers?
I think so, because, you know, when you make a move like that in the market and it slows the market down, ultimately, I think that the average consumer is the one that gets hit the worst with inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, we need our market to move. We need transactions to flow. We need people to buy stuff. We need people to be employed. Economy is good when people work, have a little bit of extra, you know, money to spend on, you know, commodities and goods and whatever. And, you know, when taxes aren't like brutal.
Yeah.
When the stock market collapses or when the real estate market collapses, generally business owners pull back. So jobs go down, income goes down, people start spending less, and, you know, it hurts everybody. And so if this huge swath of transactions in LA are not happening anymore because of this extra tax, those wealthy people are going to find the money elsewhere.
Right.
And generally that's going to be cutting workforce. And I think it's kind of a perfect storm right now, because we're also talking about like AI and, you know, all these other things, you know, this war, you know, I think ultimately it's hurting the average, call it, you know, middle income, maybe lower middle, you know, class income bracket, even harder than the luxury.
Yeah,
owner.
I would agree. So I guess there's talks of because it is on the ballot for this to go statewide in November. So how would that change everything, you know, our everyday deals?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the number of homes and this is part of their argument, you know, so if you're trying to like throw the counter argument, the number of $5 million houses or higher is a small percentage in California to the rest of the total number of units. But in terms of the value, it's a huge percentage, because essentially anything that's on the coast within, call it, I don't know, a half a mile of the coastline or right on the water, with any significant size and modern construction, you know, then it's going to be probably damn close to that number or higher than it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it just, again, it's like,
I mean, I think we'll feel that. I mean, we already feel it in LA, and I think, you know, agents have been creative and buyers have been creative, especially if they're like close to that 5 million mark. But I mean, we have a property right now that I feel, you know, if this was a thing here in Orange County, that could be an absolute deal breaker, you know? So yeah, I think we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope too, because at the same time they're talking about this, you know, mansion tax, call it, at a state level. They're talking about taxing, you know, wealthy people, billionaires, right? So, I mean, we didn't have this segment in today, but I want to add it in just so that we talk through it. I mean, the state is talking about putting forward a bill that if you are, you know, worth $1 billion or more, that they could go and tax your assets, which is really, I mean, to me, it's pretty bizarre. And it's kind of interesting timing. Like Elon Musk takes SpaceX public, and all we see on the internet is like, he's now a trillionaire, right? Number one, we had to slow down and think like $1 trillion is, I don't think the average consumer understands or average person understands how much money that is.
Yeah.
But on the same note, nothing changed for him the day before the public offering and the day after. He didn't get a just giant slug of cash. All that is that the public markets are now saying, hey, if this business were to sell, it would be worth roughly this. So he didn't get extra cash in his personal bank account the day after that happened.
Right.
If he lived in California and California decided to tax billionaires, they would go back and they would use that valuation, and he would actually have to write a check based on that valuation. That doesn't mean that he has the liquidity. He probably couldn't even make that tax payment.
Right.
Like 5% of $1 trillion is like a ginormous number. He probably doesn't even have that much liquidity. So he might be worth a lot on paper, but if they did that, I mean, it would decimate. I think it would decimate California.
Yeah.
And then, you know, beyond that, and I'm, you know, standing on my soapbox now, but it's like, why $1 billion, right? Like once they get the $1 billion through, then they're going to go down to 10 million or 5 million. And it's like, I mean, it's crazy. Imagine if you're kind of like a middle market, you know, blue collar worker, and your family maybe left you some assets, or maybe they left you like a rare painting or, some cash in like a trust fund or something. And now the state's going to go and tax that.
Right.
It just seems asinine to me.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the Palisades a bit, because I think when the fires were happening, that was something that we talked about quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of unique what's happening there now. 40% of sold burn zone lots have been bought by investors or corporations and not families. So I think, that's an interesting dynamic for us to talk through because, you are in that world and, own property there as well. So, so I guess the question is this investor money saving these neighborhoods, or is it hollowing them out a bit? Because what they're saying is prices have dropped a bit because it's lots selling, not houses. So, that kind of makes sense. There's a ton of lot listings. They're saying maybe 500 by late 2026.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been slower than expected to start rebuilding. It sounds like 2,600 permits as of January. So it's gonna take a while still for these homes to hit. But what does that mean for the consumer? What does that mean for the area? What's that investor money doing there? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a unique one. I guess I would start by saying that about a month ago, we got our permit for a home that we own that burned down.
Yeah.
And we were really quick to submit. So what they talked about right after the fire, like days after the fire, was that if you're going to build something very similar, that they would fast track the permit and you'd get it within a couple weeks. Very similar was defined as no more than 10% of your footprint on the lot. So if you had an 8,500 square foot lot and a 2,700 square foot house, you could build roughly another 300 or 400 square feet if it was single story, double that if it's two story. So you could make the footprint of the house 10% bigger, but not have to go through their whole crazy plan check, wild process that normally takes a year and a half.
Yeah.
What we found is that that's not true because we submitted a plan that was below the 10% threshold of that footprint for our property, and it took us a year and a half to get our permit.
Wow. Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think it's probably remained to be I don't really know what's going to happen. There was an investor that got a permit pretty quick, Thomas James, which is a fairly pronounced builder in the area, kind of all over California and other states. Finished a project. It's been on market now for 45 days. This is just west of the Alphabets.
Okay.
And it hasn't traded. They're actually listed at like $1,375 a square foot.
Okay.
So for our listeners that don't know what that means, we always think about the total listing price of the house divided by the square footage, and we assign a per square foot basis to the cost. And, that gives us a really clear picture of what like the market's doing essentially. I was expecting to see values close to the Alphabets in the 1,500 to 1,600 square foot range. If you're not in the Alphabets and you have a view, maybe up to 1,800 a square foot, but that doesn't mean they won't get it.
Yeah.
I guess my point in rambling all is this of this is that I don't think people want to live there yet.
Yeah, I don't think people want to live there yet either.
It's a war zone. We go there a lot to see our property, and there's a lot of new construction happening. There's thousands of lots that burn down.
Yeah. And
so if you think about trying to go and build thousands of new homes at the same time, or even hundreds of new homes at the same time, just think about the ingress and egress, like construction workers, trucks bringing material,
the noise, all the things. Yeah.
broader than that, even like, is the elementary open?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a grocery store within 10 miles?
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the heart of LA.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 miles could take you an hour and a half.
Right.
Like if the nearest grocery store is 10 miles away or 8 miles away and you need a gallon of milk, are you willing to sit in traffic for 3 hours to get your gallon of milk? No, you're not going to buy that right now.
No.
So I think it's probably a timing answer. Like, is it helping the market now? Probably not. Will it help the market in the future? Probably, because we do have to get units back to market.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. Like, what is getting built there when investors are buying these lots?
Spec houses.
New houses, right?
Yeah, brand new.
So does that change the character of the community? Does
Absolutely.
that change, now it's coming back to be something completely different from what it was. So
yeah,
what is that going to look like,
Yeah, I mean, if every house was rebuilt as like a big white farmhouse box, the character of the Palisades is going to just dissolve entirely.
Right.
Which I think, we've talked about this a lot over the last year. There are all these community action teams that are talking about how to keep the charm of the Palisades. And really what they're doing is slowing down the permitting process to ensure that it's not just big 5,000 square foot boxes.
Right.
They get, white boxes. Like that's that's what sells right now in LA. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can share what we did. We decided ours was basically that. Like it was a farmhouse-ish kind of square building. And so we try to take a counterintuitive approach and we're going to go and build like a more modern Spanish. So a true Spanish style, spec house with like really nice high-end finishes. We have a little view of the ocean. And so we're trying to kind of go the other way and bring like real character to the neighborhood. But I guess we'll see if it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm feeling like we should wrap with some market updates because for the first time, I feel that we're seeing some, I guess let's put it this way. We've been seeing buyers in the market. It's not that buyers are not looking at houses. What we haven't seen is the buyers necessarily pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Or I think we talked about on our last episode where we're experiencing a lot of cold feet, buyers that say they're going to offer, that are super close to offering and talking to their agent. I mean, I had one last week that went completely dark from to their own agent.
But they wrote an offer and then went dark.
Yeah. And so it's just a lot of that is what we've been seeing. But, I do feel like over the past, few weeks, it feels a little different. We're seeing more offers. But I think with that, what we're seeing is that we're kind of priced almost below market value in some of these situations where, the comps just they don't even support the number that we're listed at in order to move the property. The data isn't making as much sense. It's
Meaning
really
like
just
you're way lower than what it should trade for?
I wouldn't say way lower, but lower than what we would think it would trade for. And then, we get to that price and there's, buyers coming out of the woodwork. So I think what that says is, where the comps that we're looking at and the data that we're looking at, it's not, I would never tell Paul that the data doesn't matter, but I would say, what I would say is we really need to factor in what's happening in the current market at that time, because I think, the comps have been pretty misleading on a lot of these properties where just the market is, it just is different than what it was. And buyers do have more of an advantage than sellers would like to believe. You know?
Yeah, I think, some of that could be that we have, inflation that's kind of trailing. So, I've talked about that when we look at new deals and underwriting deals. If the best comp that we have is a year ago, we have to think about what's changed over the course of that year.
Yeah.
And, it's possible that there's like a 4 to 8% correction with the difference of inflation and cost of living and all that kind of stuff. Because it's the same house and rates are generally the same, but
Right.
the cost to actually live in the house is higher. So maybe that's what we're seeing. But
Yeah, and I will say one thing, an observation. I mean, even when I'm like walking the neighborhood, it's like every third house is being remodeled. And so it really does feel like people are just saying like, man, it's just, this is cheaper.
Yeah.
This is going to be cheaper to just fix it up and stay here than do the move,
Well, that goes back to, the COVID years of 2.5% and 3.5% mortgage rates.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are, employed confidently, you're going to have a job for 5 to 10 years in this specific location. And probably maybe have some upside to that job. Like you might stay there at that one place and you might get raises. And you have a nice house, and maybe you want an extra room or maybe you want a little bit of extra outdoor space.
Yeah.
But you have a 3% mortgage. Why would you ever sell
can't.
that? You just try to make it work, right?
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of the other pieces that's kind of like current, which is kind of fun and interesting is, the World Cup's happening. And it's in North America. So games are kind of all over the place. And I've been just so enthralled watching like the European fans coming and experiencing, American things.
Yeah.
And so there was an article in the Wall Street Journal of this gentleman that was from the Netherlands. And, he's doing like a road trip and going to see these games. And it talked about just the differences of cost of living and and actually just the lifestyle difference. So in the Netherlands, he makes, call it 20% less than what an American with the same job would get.
Yeah.
That American on average has like a 2,000 square foot house. In the Netherlands, their average livable square footage is 1,100 square feet. So they live just very differently, more modestly.
Right.
But then it forces people into the community, and they're kind of like nicer people.
Yeah.
and they
you're like out in the park instead of in your big giant backyard by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe your kitchen's really tiny, so then you actually go eat out a little bit more and support the local community and things, So I was thinking a lot about that, about new deals, like what we think about in terms of how fast we can get out of something and who the buyer is. But I have a question for you because you see it so much. So because what I'm hearing you say is that it's kind of the same that we've talked about for the last, call it 3 months. Market's still a little funky. You think you're experiencing maybe just a tad bit more action from buyers, not like open house traffic, but buyers actually coming in with an offer. What do you think actually makes the biggest difference? Like, is it a rate cut? Is it...
Yeah, I mean, I think we always talk about it with rate cuts. I feel that it takes time. It takes time for that to hit to the buyer to where they really understand, unless they're in the market.
Yeah,
I think buyers are out there, and so I think having someone educate your buyer on what is actually happening and what makes sense is so important, because it's kind of like we've talked about before. It's like rates might go down, but then when rates go down, then, home values go up. You're actually paying more, And so I think it's really important for everyone to educate the buyers that are in the market of what is really going on. But that goes both ways, because it's also the sellers. And that's where we, kind of find ourselves, as you mentioned, seeing more interest and more offers, because I think sellers still feel like they can demand a premium because of low inventory and, just because that's the way it's been, when really it's more, you're seeing buyers with much more leverage. Yeah. So I think a good agent is educating the buyer that they have that leverage and that they need to make an offer on this property, because you're not going to have this leverage if rates go down. So it's really all about the education aspect, because everything else, a good deal, like every buyer's looking for a good deal, right? And this is the time that they're going to find their good deal. So
when rates are a little higher and the market's a little slower, the advantage is with the buyer.
It is with the buyer. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines and, you're out looking at properties and you're wondering if you should pull the trigger, the answer is yes,
I bet I think it's really useful to just slow down just a tad and talk about that, because I think people are really easy to forget about how painful things are, from the past. If you were trying to buy a house during the peak season of COVID, as a buyer, I mean, like, good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember selling back then. It was amazing. I mean, we'd list our price and we were like, look, you got to come in fully non-contingent, no inspection periods, and you better be like 10% over asking price. Otherwise there's no chance. And you'd have like 10 to 15 offers in 3 days. And so if you were trying to buy during that dynamic, holy smokes.
Yeah. It was rough. I mean, we've talked about it before where like, we as listing agents, we were hated because, we're rejecting 15 people, a property. There were lines out the doors. Yeah. Everyone was wearing masks in these lines out the door. Like, it was wild, and I do think that, the buyers kind of forget about how that goes. And so they do have a really unique opportunity now where, I'm not saying they have all the leverage, but I am saying that they have more than they have had in a very long time.
Well, it's probably really important that we continue to talk about that every week, because I would imagine there are a lot of people going to buy their house for the first time now that didn't experience that and don't really understand what that means, like, and how frustrating that could be. I mean, if you walk a property and you fall in love with it and you write a full ask offer, I mean, you would think that you're going to, very worst case, get a counter. But I remember back then, I mean, legitimately, if it wasn't 10% over ask, we wouldn't even counter people.
Yeah.
And so they, gosh, that would be a frustrating time.
Yeah. It's a different world. So if you are looking for a steal in Mar Vista, we have 6 SFRs with rooftop decks in an amazing location, walkable to all the great things, all listed at $1.649 million. Come take a look.
Okay.
All right.
We just went through a whole lot. I didn't ask you, what's your take on this transfer tax?
I can only speak from what I've seen, and I think it has made people hesitant to sell. And so we see it from a different perspective. Like, we're going to see it from the real estate side. Yeah. Big picture stuff, we'll see what happens. But what I can say is there are sellers that are hesitant to sell because of it. There are people that wanted to get out because of it. There's some creative things happening on the real estate side to get people out. So I think people are finding loopholes for this regardless, so I'm not actually sure if it's accomplishing what it's set out to accomplish.
Right.
So.
When you say loopholes, one of the things people do is sell the furniture with the property. Yeah. So they take $4.5 million, but then the buyer pays $1 million for the furniture, and that's not associated back to the property.
Right. And maybe that furniture was not necessarily $1 million. I don't know. So maybe it was, but yeah. I mean, I think, and I can definitively say that if that was going on in a deal that we're trying to sell right now and that was the situation, I think we wouldn't make a deal happen, So let's say that tax gets pushed through and because from my perspective, if they push it through at 5 million at a state level, it's a matter of time before they go down to 2.5 and then down to 1. At what threshold do you leave California? Yeah, I don't think they could take it to 2.5 or 1, because that's like average home value. I mean, that's like, it's literally everyone, I don't know. I feel like that would be tough.
So you're not leaving?
That'd be a tough sell.
You're not leaving California?
No. I mean, you can't. Look, like, for all the things that we quote unquote struggle with here, it is still by far the best state to live in the country. I mean, like, we know it. We know that we live in the best place. And honestly, I don't see that happening statewide. I just don't. I don't think that could be a thing. But, I've been wrong before. But ultimately, like, you live in California, you know you have to pay more to live in California,
Yeah.
but it is worth it to live in California. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is a wrap.
Okay.
Actually, no, that is not a wrap.
Oh.
We still have our last segment.
Oh, tell me.
That's a wrap for our market update.
Our non-gossipy segments? Okay.
Yes, we still have some celebrity tea to spill.
Oh, okay. All right.
I believe her name is pronounced Kylie Jenner. I don't know who she is.
Stop.
I think she's like a famous actress or a model or businesswoman or something.
That's a joke, right?
Yeah,
that's
of course.
for sure.
I know
Okay. I mean,
I'm
say
just
of
joking.
course. You say of course, but there are times. I mean, yeah. I have to question that. You didn't know how to pronounce Ciara's name, so that was a thing.
That's true.
So
that's true. Kylie Jenner's concrete fortress in Holmby Hills was listed for $48 million, and on June 24th, it just disappeared. Pulled off the market after about 6 months. Okay. So what's the deal?
Okay.
She bought it in 2020 for 36.5, listed December 22nd for 48, and it is a 15,320 square foot, 7-bed, 9.5 baths, built as a modern fortress designed for ultimate privacy. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. She listed like just over $11 million higher than what she bought it for.
Okay.
And then she just pulls it off the market.
Just withdrew it.
I mean, what else is going on? I mean, I don't really listen to like celebrity gossip, but is she in a new relationship?
No, I don't feel like she is.
So there's no new boy toys?
No. So they're saying that she pulled it because she finished her new Hidden Hills compound. So now she just doesn't need it. But wouldn't you then want to sell it?
Yeah. Unless she's going to like rent it out or something.
Okay. No, interesting.
Or maybe she doesn't want to pay 5% tax.
Exactly. So
5% on 50 million is $2.5 million. That's a quarter of the gain that she was trying to capture.
Yeah. I think we talked about this before. Like sometimes it's just not even worth selling. Like with what's going to happen there.
But imagine the upkeep on a 15,000 square foot house. Like, I mean, the cleaners would have to be there like every 3 days.
Yeah.
And the water. I mean, that seems like a whole lot. Kylie, if you're listening, we want to understand. We're happy to host you on the podcast. We'd love to understand your actual perspective on why you didn't sell this property.
Yes. Do you think that $48 million is realistic for a home that she paid $36 for in 2020?
I don't know enough about the transaction. I mean, that's $3,000 a square foot, or just over $3,000 a square foot. There's plenty of stuff that trades in the $3,000 square foot range in California.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I don't love hearing right out of the gate is a concrete fortress. I mean, to me, that explanation's like, okay, there's just like gray concrete walls and floors. That doesn't sound super cozy. Yeah. It's also ginormous. Like, how many people want to buy a concrete home that's 15,000 square feet with 7 beds and 9.5 baths in California? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like we talked about before. Like, who is buying these properties?
Yeah.
It's such a small buyer pool, and it just seems like they just, she just couldn't sell it. So she pulled it off the market. That's what it sounds like to me. So, I mean, the bottom line, if you sit for 6 months and I mean, at that price point, it probably does take much longer to sell.
Yeah. 6 months to a year.
Yeah. But at 6 months, like, maybe there should be think about a price cut or something's happening there.
A little bit of a teaser for next week. There was a $100 million transaction in Orange County.
Oh, yes.
Last week. Yeah. Just over a week ago.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that one. I don't think it was a celebrity though.
No.
We'll dig in.
And we have some good transactions that we're excited to share, hopefully by next week as well.
Yes.
So.
Yes, a large chunk.
Yeah.
Actually equates to more than Kylie's transaction.
Exactly.
No big deal, Kylie.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
She probably listens actually every week.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. That is a wrap for this week at Realty Talk. We love having you here. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button. Give us all your feedback. We have had a ton of feedback that people love this celebrity tea segment. They like it more than our old Rate That Listing segment.
That's true.
Which has a special dear place in my heart.
Yeah,
we might have to bring that one back.
I did love that.
All right. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.